Alright, welcome back. No, go away and not do anything. Alright. This is happening. Look guys, Shit at Arcade, my multiplayer is dying. Yeah, I don't see it happening. What the... I was gonna do fuzzy here. I can't fucking find them. Yeah, you see that these people, they're like glowing blue, and I can like walk right through them. And that's because when you're dueling, like you got this button where you saw that earlier, you can challenge somebody when you accept. You basically become invincible and people phase through you, which is part of the J plus mod, which is, well, what everybody's using at this point. Next to movie battles, of course. And it allows you to do that. Like, do one-on-one duels. Which is kind of what the meta is. I mean, sometimes, on this server a lot, you got people doing that. I don't like doing that. It's pure randomness. But you can just jump into the fray and kill a bunch of people like this. But what we were doing earlier was force dueling, which you don't see a lot anymore, at least not in the server, because, well, force powers are disabled. So you can't actually force duel. But that's one of the more interesting things that also is a possibility within the J plus mod. Because, well, it has all the mechanics of a regular duel, but in a regular duel you can't use your force powers, not even the save it throw. And a force duel you obviously can. What we were doing was force dueling with all powers enabled with the admin commands, so you'd have every force power at level 3, which is not normally a thing you can do, which is full force dueling. But we were restricting ourselves to dark side versus light side, or dark side versus dark side, because light side versus light side is pointless. If both people are standing around with fucking absorb on, not doing anything, it's pretty much just a regular duel. And so I was light siding, and he was dark siding, and I was actually recording that and talking throughout the whole thing before I realized that my mic wasn't on. I wanted to show you that, but I guess we're not going to do that today. I don't think he's on now. Nope, he's off, my dueling partner. But we can still talk about force dueling for a bit. Which is a thing that, you know, because people don't do a lot anymore, not here, that it's easy to forget how to do. I mean, it depends on the server too, it depends on the settings, because on the server that we used to play on, that I used to play on, they had the saber throw disabled, which is pretty much the only, or the thing that you're going to use the most when force dueling. You use force pull to break the enemy's guard, because while you're in that animation where he like puts his hand up, they can't guard saber attacks, and so you just throw a lightsaber, do a force pull, because you can do those simultaneously, and it's a free hit, and the saber throw does a lot of damage. So if you hit them a couple of times with that, they're dead. So that's the basics of force dueling, and so you have to basically get the most amount of hits in before the enemy can heal up by either using drain or force heal. In the case of light side versus dark side, the light sider has the advantage in that he can always try to have absorb up, which slowly drains your force power though, and if you hit 0 it goes off, and if you hit 0 you're screwed. Because then the Darksider can just hold you in a force grip and drain you. or just kill you outright. Force you to drop your saber, and he holds you in the force grip, and you can't pull it back. You're fucking done for. So that's one of the interesting mechanics, and why I like light side versus dark side dueling a lot better than full force dueling, which is what the most common thing left that people do, where you have all force powers. But I just don't like it as much because it's not as mechanic heavy. But in both cases of force dueling, you're forced to do a lot more quick thinking, because as opposed to regular duel, because like in a regular duel, right? You have somebody jumping around, doing their saber forms, and you're like watching their patterns and going, okay, yeah, let's see what I can come up with to counter that. And it's very methodical, I'd say. Regular duel. And especially, like, yeah, watch those two. Like how they're jumping around each other and trying to get their red hits in, and both using the strong style. Oh, wow. It's not exactly fast-paced. Whereas the force duel, like, you're always doing something. You're always adapting and trying to come up with a new way to kill your enemy as fast as possible before they heal up. Now you got, for the Darksiders, you have obviously, you have Force Rain, you have Force Lightning, the Force Rage, and the Force Grip. You're not going to be using Force Lightning or Force Rage. Probably. If you're any good at it. Because Force Lightning, it doesn't do a lot of damage, it just does 2 damage per tick. Even if you do it with the saber off, and then it does a little bit more damage, but or it's supposed to, but it doesn't. I don't know, every server setting is different. But it's not worth it. It drains your force super fast, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and if your enemy has absorb up, you're just feeding him free energy. So it's useless power. And Force Rage, well, it's Force Rage. What it does is, it makes you a little faster, it makes your attacks faster and stronger, but it drains your health, and it doesn't do it slowly either. Now, I think the thing was that while Force Rage was up, you cannot be killed. But, you know, if it goes down, you're on 1 HP. The enemy could, like, force push you down a little ledge and take a little fall damage and you're done. Because you can't grapple on a force duel. It's immediate loss. So you're screwed, basically. And especially if you're battling a lightsider and or you're force dueling and the enemy has absorb up, you can't refill your health because you have to use the force strength, and it doesn't. And it doesn't actually work when dark side is up. When the absorb is up. I don't know what's going on. That's weird. Yeah. Anyway. What was the thing? Yeah. The Force Rage. You're not going to be using that. So you're stuck with Absorb and Force Grip. Both of which are very useful. Because not only does Drain refill your health, it also drains the enemy's force power. So if they're a Lightsider and their Absorb goes down, you want to hit them with the Drain almost immediately to refill any health you might have lost. And to make sure he can't re-enable the Absorb immediately, because look at these server settings and how fast your force goes back up. Full, like, I'm on half now. Look how fast it goes, and it's up. So they can just throw you Absorb up again immediately. And you're not gonna want that. Uh, you want to hit them with the Force Drain, and you don't want to do it during the duel, because when the enemy has absorbed up, it goes slowly down to 0, but every time they get hit with a Force attack, it fills back up. So that's how light side uses Force Duel. They don't spam their Force powers as much because they have absorb up, and they're counting on you to do it for you and refill your Force gauge so they can get their saber throws in or whatever. And you can easily find yourself overwhelmed without being able to get a single hit in as a Darksider. But your offensive powers as a Darksider are always superior, because when their defenses goes down, the Lightsider is screwed. You can hold them in Force Grip, and while you're holding them there, they cannot refill their Force power, and they're fucked. You can just dangle them over a ledge, drop them down, and you won. So it's a game of endurance and quick thinking, which is kind of neat. Normal duels aren't like that. They're a lot more mechanic based. You're basing them a lot more around your swing mechanics. Like, I like using yellow, most people use the strong stance. And you work around them, you're like, oh, this guy uses this stance, so I'm gonna fight like this because, oh, he's using red, he's gonna be slow, he's gonna be trying to, like, maybe get 2 hits in, 3 at the most, and I can work around that, like, with either using blue style, or pushing him into the yellow style, or trying to outmaneuver him with my own strong style. And that's saber dueling in a nutshell. We're not gonna duel, what was his name, because he's kind of an asshole. That was what I wanted to talk about. Okay. Was the Force dueling. I'll do a video on that some other time to explain how it works. Well, I just explained how it works, but to also show you how it works. Which is very, very different from a regular duel. But a lot more fun, too. Because a lot more things can happen. And your individual skill is called into action a lot more. And yeah, it's a good old fun time. So that's it for now, and I'll see you with the next Jedi Academy video.